Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Intimate Talks interview series. I'm Asi Efros, and our special guest today is Guido Campello, a co-CEO of the luxury lingerie store Journelle.
A good team, good effort. Everyone was really flexible. I think the great thing is we were able to grow our team, and everybody actually got promoted this year too. So they were able to really build, on the Journelle side. So first year Journelle has been profitable ever. Sorry that we're in the closet here. It's just the office is full today. So
Thank you so much for taking the time.
we're working, and now we're starting to get some of the bigger customers, and in direct to consumer we're starting to really speak to that luxury clientele, so we're starting to steal some of the customers from the old Neiman's and Barney's and stuff like that, which is exciting. So
Yeah, no, that's amazing.
yeah.
I went to the Journelle website and I counted 98 brands, including Journelle and Cosabella, and I went, wow. So
You counted 98 on the site right now?
And what is the criteria for you to choose the brand for your store?
There's a few criteria. Number one is, what are customers asking for?
Mm.
What are the great brands? What's the great community of brands? What are people selling? What are people doing across other stores and retailers? And then we're always looking for emerging designers. One of the things we love the best is to say, hey, we've got all these countries in the world. How do we make sure we have designers from each country and speaking to us? So we're getting better and better at that now. We've started filling in new brands. There were a lot of even classic brands we didn't have. Like the big cut brands, for example. Journelle really never cared about that. So we were able to just expand based on the different categories. Now the emerging category is men's, and we have a new men's creative director. So we've launched Hanro, we launched Ohm, we have Calvin Klein coming in, Cosabella just launched, Menagerie is launching this week actually. And then we're building Journelle's private label men. So we will have Journelle men's coming as well, and then we're just going to keep expanding it. So men's, I believe we'll probably have, if we can get to 30 brands across different categories, boxers, intimates, underpinnings, all that good stuff, I think we'll be very happy. But we're looking for emerging designers in that world too. So, the other thing we do is we find white spaces. So there's specific bras that people are searching for that are no longer there. So some brands, key brands, classic brands, cancel styles, but yet people are still looking for them because it was like, oh my God, that was my favorite bra. So we are creating those. We're going to fill in those elements wherever. What we try to do is we go to a brand and say, okay, give us everything you have in stock of it, even if it's old colors or whatever. If you're returning it from any department store, go ahead and we'll take it at full price, no problem. So we try to go ahead and clear out the market. And then from there, if they're not doing it anymore, then we need to find a solution to make that customer happy. So we go ahead and create and fill in that gap or fill in that void because we can produce it ourselves. And we don't want to compete with our brands at all. But if a brand's giving up on a specific market and there's demand for it, then as a retailer, as a producer, and as part of the community, it's my responsibility to make sure customers are finding, those things that they love so much. And we do it, in a way I think that's filled with integrity to those brands. Since I've started at Journelle, I haven't said no to any brand, and I've never pulled out of any brand. I'd say the brands have been super helpful at helping us economically because Journelle had to turn around. It had quite a lot of debt, and it's been, we're almost there. I think this is the month finally that we'll be totally in control. But all the brands have been really helpful, and that's why we respect everything every brand's doing. So yeah, I think it's where the demand is, where the white space is, and how do we fill it in, And now there's a couple of white spaces people are really asking us to do.
So this is like the creativity I see everywhere in your business and what you do. I know you have a design background. So how is it helping you to be creative in business?
Design process. I think one of the coolest things I learned about the design process, the first things I learned was actually studying the cycle of the process. And backwards and forwards, you could do the same design process. What's really unique, though, is that you realize a lot of times you come back to your original idea, but it's almost like a science project. You have to disprove or find new solutions on the same idea before you realize, okay, oh, okay, I've adapted all these things to make that idea work. So I think knowing that your initial idea, your initial instinct really has strong value. Designers know that because they've come to that thought process already through the evolution of their innovations and their ideas. The question is, can you prove it? The question is the market there for it? And you have to test it in every way possible, price, sourcing, all these things. But the true initial idea is great. Then you really go after it and you really try to build that. um, I spent a lot of time working with my father early on art and fine art to get into the design schools, and the sensitivity to understanding technique is super important in design, and you have to improve your technique in every aspect of what you do. You're always sharpening the sword. In Japan they say kaizen. You have to always sharpen it and continue to improve it and realize there's other ways to do exactly what you're doing, and some people are doing it better or just different. So I think learning that from school and from my father as an engineer, all those elements come together, and that's why we're always refining.
So how do you feel about innovation? And is it represented in Costabello, Journelle, both?
I think it's represented really in Cosa Bella. The whole history of the brand is innovation. It's really thinking about how to reuse the same materials. So my parents started with mesh. They were really one of the first ones to take mesh that was an underpinning in wedding dresses and keeping cool and all this stuff, and thinking, let's make this in underwear. Then stretch lace, but real stretch lace. There's a lot of stretch lace in the market that's comfortable, but we use stretch lace that comes back and gives support. So it helped lead. We were one of the first ones with lace shapewear. But that stretch lace, that study now has given us to our bralettes, which have been an amazing business for all the boutiques and specialty stores. These bralettes that are fuller size, but that have stretch support. So it adds to the support of the inside structure. There's little things like that. The thong market is one that, there's some key players in that really helped to develop it. My father took cosmetics and packaged it and put it on the countertops, created that patent. Now it's 26 years old, that patent, particularly of the packaging. So rethinking of the way that people shop. And then the other thing I think my mother really brought was color to the industry. She was always fascinated with the idea of being really colorful and bringing more color variety to bras and underwear. So again, you'll see a lot of color in sleepwear, maybe in penny programs, etc. But in terms of bras, we really helped to lay out that foundation. And color library just became a key for us. So all these different ways of looking at materials, at the aesthetics, and then of course the functions. I'd say, look, we didn't nobody here today created bras, but the evolution of bras and what bras mean, for example, now we're really starting to dive into, and we have some things coming out for Cosabella that will be very unique to the market, and an innovation, continued innovation that I think pushes the brand forward, even in that segment. Journelle is classic. Journelle is classic. We are not shy to think of the 70s, 80s, 90s, and how beautiful and feminine lingerie could be, very sexy. And you think of some of the classic brands back then that are no longer with us, especially a lot of the Italian brands that are gone, and that will never come back because they really are gone. That's what we want to represent with Journelle, is to bring that kind of sexiness and beauty back to the category in basic underwear. So it's innovation, but looking at the past, right? Bringing back those trends. That's why they're innovative for a younger customer base. It's interesting because Journelle is a little more classic and more even expensive than Cosabella, yet our customer demographic is about 10 years younger, 15 years younger.
Nice.
So people are not shy to spend and look at the past and feel like it's new. In fact, that's usually the way it goes, right?
I love it. I love it.
Mhm.
So how was it growing up in Campello family?
It was passionate.
Nice.
Dinner table was very important. My parents absolutely, no matter what was happening, even if they came home at 9:30, 10 o'clock, 10:30, 11, we all would sit and wait for them for dinner. So we all had to be ready to discuss, our homework and the things we were doing, but at the same time, we had to be ready to listen and understand the challenges and the successes that were happening at the time with Cosabella. Their partner, their original founding partner, Sergio Oxman, would call my parents always at dinner time, no matter what time it was. So part of our dinner was just to listen to them, agreeing or disagreeing on the things that needed to be accomplished. And today, in fact, my daughters are in the dressing rooms right behind me because they're building our archives. So they came to work at spring break, but they came straight to work. They're launching their brand for their first, bras. So they decided they were going to come and learn a bit about Journelle's history. So they are literally cataloging our entire archive and going through the history of Journelle right now, building pictures and putting those things away. And that was the same thing that my parents did. In fact, next week I get to go to Miami to redo the Cosabella archives. So it's all my father's first underwears and bodysuits from 1982, 1983, 1984, and do the same exact thing we're doing here because we're building the big family like design history. And that was the biggest thing I think also that was our advantage was the appreciation of heritage and history within our own brand. And now if you look, a lot of our collections come and bring that back. And that was a process that growing up in the family, we realized always appreciate what you've accomplished and make sure to retell that story over and over again. So if you've done something great once, people get tired of that. You always have to come up with new things, but it's always great to come back to it. People love the success stories, right? So,
Yeah, no, it is. I'm sure it for designers, it's an immense inspiration. So I'm
mhm.
so glad that you keeping the archives and bringing them together. And you girls are so wonderful. They have your passion. I met them at the party at in August at Curve, New York, and I remember that amazing motto: "Girls with big dreams become women with vision."
Well, they're New Yorkers, so they already know, the importance of entrepreneurship and business. I would say, for children to understand the value of making money and having money and what that means is essential. And I think that's what my parents did with us. They were immigrants. They took a big risk moving. My mother created this brand by selling products door to door. And then, sure enough, everyone joined her. And my wife, same thing. Her parents were immigrants. And she saw her father build up his business. So we followed in the same footsteps. And, even though we didn't leave our country, we left our state and we went backwards from Florida to New York. This is our home, and it will be forever our home. We're never escaping this. But our kids will then probably take on that path and that thought process of, okay, I want to accomplish this. I saw how our grandparents did it, how our parents did it. So this is one of the ways to do it. I think when you look at education, I went to a great middle school and a great high school that were magnet programs for design. So I came out and I just had an advantage. And we support that with some scholarships now through the Under Fashion Club with Design and Architecture Senior High in Miami. It's still ranked, I think, in the top 20 or 30 as a public school in the entire country because of that program. And my daughters aren't necessarily exposed to that. The magnet programs in New York are a bit different. There will be opportunity for them, and they will go into the arts. But what we thought is, hey, they've got the world at their access here. They can create a business and experience a lot of those arts by just running that. They happen to have a natural tendency to watch, the TV shows on business entrepreneurship. There's so many great ones now that I wish I had when I was a kid, right? That explain to you these processes. So when they speak about, all the business principles of equity and shares and percentages and all these things, they really do understand. So they got really excited and they partnered with one of our close friends' daughters. And the three of them are going to put together a brand based on the fact that there's a white space. And the white space is a story told by the wearers and users of first bras and training bras and growing up with that, because then it goes past that. But it starts with them and it'll grow with them. And that's why it's going from girls to women. Girls with big dreams become women with vision. Hopefully, it's something they can carry for a long time and make it part of their legacy and their story. Journelle lets us sell it, but the truth is the demand and excitement for it has come from industry wide. Cosabella has teen bras, tween bras with Bella by Cosabella. Journelle really is limited in what it has. So we're not going to stop there. We want to do collaborations with cool influencers, with some other designers that we already sell at Journelle. And we want to help other brands also produce first bras. So we think when we look at some of these key bra companies, they should already have these, and Journelle should be the destination for them, and Girls with Big Dreams being part of that. So, we think that for all children, you know, all children, not male or female, but everybody, and through their process and what they're going through, uh, underwear is actually key to that experience, right? Underwear is key to helping you understand identity, comfort, intimacy with yourself, uh, confidence, and we don't teach that enough. So that's our goal, is to really go teach that and explain that and help people evolve. And Journal should be part of that from the beginning. So we're going to look at how we can influence that as much as we can. Our daughters are our vehicle. They teach me so much every day. I realize, I don't get to see everything anymore. They really have a different view of the world, which is exciting.
Yeah, no, they have amazing future. I can spot the talent and the creative passion right away. How is your beautiful wife, the doctor of dermatology, Sapna Palip, is contributing to your creative process?
I mean, everybody needs a good muse, right? And so she's been my
Love
muse
it.
since she's been my muse since the day I met her. We just last week, it was actually 15-year anniversary of the day we met. So
Congratulations.
I would say that's half a generation of influence on the things we're doing. Journelle really is her project. I help to be the face because she doesn't have necessarily the time to be yet. She's more and more getting more and more to the front of it. At the same time, she greatly respects this community and knows that you can't just come and give it half your energy. Lingerie and all the designers and all the business people that have built these businesses have given their heart, soul, and passion. So you can't just come and do that as a hobby. And so, I think I've realized that she knows just so much about the industry and has so much influence. I'd say one of the coolest things she gets to do that I don't is she gets to be a census every single day. So she comes to me and says, you know what, this month, something's happening with this brand because I'm seeing it all the time when I'm doing, my exams. I see this bra all the time. I see this brand all the time. This is the number one brand. This is the number two brand. And so she has an opportunity to understand why people are wearing certain things. And then she also has the opportunity to see when people are wearing the wrong things and what issues it causes. So if there's anyone who really understands what's happening out there, besides the Journelle team that's doing fittings every day and boutiques that are spending hours in the dressing rooms, doctors get to see that. Doctors really are pointed, and if anything, that's empowering for this industry is female doctors have a big voice and stronger voice now. And she's one of those who knows how to kind of put a and two plus two together to make a solution, and that's what she's doing. So even the product behind me, that's a Journelle Classic product. We already made changes to this product based on derma needs and dermatology issues that were happening with the original product that we received. So there's a lot of things at Cosabella that were already accomplished, but the way she's working with Girls with Big Dreams with the girls, the way she's already influenced Journelle, and she's just great at bringing smart and strong women and men around her.
So, how do you have fun with your family when you're not working?
We travel a lot. The great thing about work these days is you can work from anywhere. and my family, because they're tied into the businesses, they understand that. So, this past week we took 7 days off, but not really, because every day, and especially because of time zones, we were able to work full days.
Mhm.
So I still effectively didn't really miss that the elements of work. So different from how my parents, when they traveled, it was really much harder and more disconnection. We're able to stay connected and do our jobs, and entrepreneurs have that advantage now if they want it, right? So we travel. We love to explore. We love to hit countries. We want stamps in our passports. In fact, we are all Indian, Italian, and American. So we have all the three passports so that we can continue to travel everywhere. So I'd say the world and exploration is really our hobby and the way we have fun. Um, I think also, we're as parents, we're not super restrictive. We think everyone should be able to find themselves. And I think, I got that from my parents. And so, from exploring things that sometimes are taboo, we push that, so all of us get to experience it, which is exciting.
Oh, it's wonderful. I love to travel too. What is your biggest fear?
Fear.
Mhm.
I think fear stops you from changing and evolving and doing the things that you need to do. So I do fear the day when I will be scared to do something. Um, there's definitely things I don't like to do, and I'll never do them. But in terms of the category and the build and design and selling, the things that I do now, I've lost fear, which I think is awesome. And fear is the most debilitating thing that can happen when you're in momentum and when you're especially in growth or really striving to accomplish something. But you have to be rational. Rationality is different from fear, and being able to say, I really can't do that, as opposed to I'm scared to do that. So yeah, I try to stay away from the thought process of holding myself back instead of trying to find a solution. And my one of my business partners in production, she always says, it's not about the if, it's about the how, right? So it's not if you're going to do something, but it's how are you going to do it. So always giving that example in my mind keeps fear away. So you're going to make mistakes. You may do things, or maybe somebody doesn't understand something, or you miscommunicate it, and it doesn't draw up the emotions that you want, but you'll evolve and grow from it. So
Absolutely. Um, what is your biggest dream and have it realized yet?
I want that next dream, and I know what the next dream is, but the first dream was family. Being able to accomplish what we have with Cosabella, build that security for the family. Um, it's not easy. There's always the challenges and disagreements, but being able to say, "Hey, I did at Cosabella the things that were so important, and I was able to continue that legacy for that beautiful brand, and that brand can be a global brand that changes people's lives forever, and our family is okay and strong and good." And to build a family around it with Sapna and our kids has been awesome. So that was the first thing I was like, how can I accomplish that? Some time ago. The second thing now is the community. So Journelle gives us a path towards that. Made in Mediterranean, which is our production company, gives us a path towards that. I believe competition is fair and beautiful. I believe when brands influence each other and challenge each other, it's beautiful. I think when you are competitive and hostile, as we see in the world today, I think it's a loss of opportunity for improvement on Earth, right? So if I can help someone improve because they're missing an opportunity, I want to do that, and that's what we're doing today. And I have to say, when we bought Journelle, there were a couple brands that were like, we're not selling to you anymore because we see you as that. And I said, well, that's silly, because there's so much that we can help each other with, and that's what we're doing. So there's a couple brands now that you would be surprised by, that we are helping develop and build categories with, because we're missing it at Journelle and we need it. But that means the whole industry will benefit, which is really exciting. So I would say community is the next step, right? Building up this lingerie community and leaving our legacy as community builders. That's next.
Oh, that's beautiful. So what do you see? How do you see your future for you and your store and your brands?
Super bright, so exciting. I have to say that seeing what specialty stores and brick and mortar has done the last year and a half, 2 years, uh, man, that's so exciting. And the truth is, people want to shop. I look at my daughters; they love going to stores, but they're not going to experience the sales and markdowns and chargebacks and all this stuff the same way that we did with the big department stores. So boutiques get to really sell things at full price, be stronger. If they want to do a special event, they can. If they want to partner with vendors to create new product at special value, okay. But prices are going up. People are still buying because they know scarcity and supply chain are an issue. So we've gotten used to like just saying, you know what, I want it. I need to go ahead and spend the extra $20 as opposed to always looking for less. At the same time, you have different market segments and you want to be able to speak to each customer. So Journelle's problem was Journelle was not all inclusive from a gender to racial to all these things. It was a big issue when you looked at the marketing and the product categories, the sizing. So we said we need to open up who we are. So why I think Journelle is gonna, really open up that segment because you said how many brands do we have and how we can go ahead and fill in those holes in those buckets and tell this story. So I think Journelle can be such a tremendous player. And at the same time, as I was talking about community before, Journelle will not play in. Sorry, we have a heater issue, but Journelle will not play in from a takeover side. We just want to fill in the white space and help build a whole community. So we do see it as growing, and we're really excited to see it grow and help people evolve their education in lingerie. Yeah,
Absolutely.
we have a great team, really strong team. And the leaders of our team are people who've been here for 7, 8 years. So we really were able to keep the core of that team, which is why Journelle is true to itself, right? It wasn't just a new team. We wanted to keep everybody. So.
Well, that's amazing. That's the core team is that keeps everything going.
Yeah.
And people stay because they love it. So,
Yeah, I mean, they stay because they're challenged too. I think people want to grow, and the people that are here want to grow. So, challenge and hard work is a motivator, especially today. So sometimes we look at new generations, or we have these ideas of the challenges with specific philosophies. Millennial is almost a bad word when you're talking about business, but it's not true. They're vibrant, they're joyous. They're more positive in the viewpoint of the world and what we can do to shape the world, which is exactly where Journelle wants to be. So, if you give them the right path, it's a company people will be driven to work for. Not easy. No retail is easy, ever. So, but definitely a good challenge, healthy challenge.
wonderful. Thank you so much. It was fantastic. And I was waiting for this moment for years and years because we're always at the show, nobody has time. And finally, we had time to talk. And I am so grateful. And I'm wishing you great success with everything you do. And I just want to see you develop and succeed, evolve, and for years and years.
Thank you. Thanks for educating the community, and thanks for keeping everyone together. These efforts that are done by independent thought leaders like you are so important for what we do. Just like designers are important, the sales teams that are out there, and the people who are doing the logistics and driving the education of the category. But you're essential to helping us continue to kind of drive and show the passion of this industry. So thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe to the channel to see more videos from the Intimate Talks interview series. I'm Asi Efros. Happy creating.